Convener, when you're ready, would you like to present your report?
Moderator Tom Riddell, 19, Convener of the Social Care Council. Moderator, in October 2013, the Guardian newspaper featured an article which led with, "Social care is not a career for the faint-hearted. But while working with some of the most vulnerable members of society in a fierce media spotlight has never been easy, it has got a whole lot tougher over the past few years. For leaders of children's and adults' services, the stakes are unprecedentedly high." Although written almost a decade ago, these words certainly ring true to us today. And we would argue that the stakes have become even higher, not just for those working in social care, but for those supported by it too. Alongside health providers, social care services have borne the brunt of a global pandemic. They are working hard to recruit new people into the sector, and as the toll of the past 2 years is felt across society, face increasing need for the care they provide. It has been a very stormy season for social care. However, the staff at Crossreach, far from being faint-hearted, continue to rise to the challenge of offering love, care and support to thousands of people on a daily basis, helping them to live life to the full, whatever their circumstances. People living with a learning disability or a physical disability or both. People who have become frail as a result of old age. People struggling with addiction or experiencing a dip in their mental health. People who find themselves homeless or caught up in the criminal justice system. People who no longer live at home because of a family breakdown or need additional learning support because their needs are complex. People living with dementia. People affected by poverty, loneliness or isolation. People at heart like you and me, for whom life has become hugely challenging because of the circumstances they were born into or the situations they have encountered along the way. People who need a helping hand, and people for whom the Church, through Crossreach, is holding out hope and a future. While the staff at Crossreach remain resolute in their commitment to provide high-quality social care, there is wide recognition that something needs to be done to ease the pressures being experienced. At the General Assembly of 2021, we reported on the independent review of adult social care, which recommended significant changes to the way in which social care services should be funded and commissioned, to the way that staff are recognised and rewarded, and significantly, to the way that those receiving support should have a greater say in the way that the services are being provided to them. Throughout the past year, we have continued to feed into discussions about how that future might look, harnessing the voices of supported people and staff alike to contribute to that process. We've been very grateful for the support of last year's moderator, Lord Wallace, and to the Faith Impact Forum in helping to amplify that voice and make representation on the issues that really matter to the people tasked to make change in Parliament and in government. The results of those discussions will be seen shortly as the Scottish Government presents legislation to bring about a national care service in the next few weeks. That legislation has the potential to bring about sweeping change, and we would urge you to get involved in joining with us to make your voices heard in responding to what is proposed. It may not affect you directly, but it will affect those in your churches and in the communities surrounding them. We all need to play a part in ensuring that the social care services of the future will be there for all who need them, whatever their age or their circumstances. It's important that we, as a church which is committed to the most disadvantaged in society, make our voice heard. Whilst the legislation will take time to work through, and the system changes being proposed will take even longer to introduce, the Crossreach Board have been very aware that steps need to be taken now to ensure that Crossreach can respond to current challenges and continue to play a vital part in the mission of a fast-changing church. To that end, much of the past year has been taken up with thinking about the role that Crossreach can play in helping to fulfil the 5 marks of mission, with particular emphasis on the third mark, that of responding to human need by loving service. We have thought about the Christian ethos of the organisation and how that can be nurtured and sustained through prayer and pastoral concern. We have thought about the 1,600-strong workforce and are taking steps to examine the conditions under which we could become a living wage organisation, as well as all that we need in place to ensure the well-being of our staff. We have also thought carefully about the services and have been dealing with the areas of greatest risk, sometimes remodelling services and sometimes having to take the very difficult decision to withdraw them. These decisions to close services are never taken lightly, as we understand the distress and the upset that they cause. But we do believe them to be necessary to allow the organisation, its workforce, and its supported people to thrive into the future. We have also thought about the nature of change in the church and how we can draw closer to presbyteries and individual congregations in the future. And we look forward to a time when we can discuss that more fully. Having taken a number of initial steps, we have agreed to work closely with the Assembly trustees over the next year to determine the type of oversight and support Crossreach is likely to need in the future. And the board is grateful for the guidance and support of the trustees in meeting the challenges of the past year. Despite of all that going on in the background, we are pleased to report that thousands of lives have continued to be transformed over the past year. We have heard incredibly moving stories from people like Scott, who has beaten addiction and with the help of Residential Rehabilitation Service in Glasgow is now reaching out to others to help them on their own journey of recovery. We have planted for the future, as we have done what we can to keep the promise for young people in our care. And we celebrated a successful Community Careers Day at our Erskine campus, helping the young people there to dream of a fulfilling future. We provided a roof over their heads for many who have found themselves homeless, and have watched with pride as the residents of Cunningham House in Edinburgh found ways to give back to the communities which supported that service by offering their own time and talents. We have found ways to enhance the lives of those in their later years in our residential care homes from Nairn to Ayr. Our successful partnership with local churches across the country led to our Heart for Art groups launching their online gallery in April 2022, having already raised awareness of our need to care for creation through their own art. Our recent annual survey told us that 97.5% of service users believe that the service they receive enables them to live life to the best of their abilities. 98% felt they were supported to make choices about their own health and well-being. 99% believe that they got emotional support to manage life's experience. And 99% said that they were satisfied overall with the service that they received. These are just snapshots of all that has been achieved. You can learn more about the work of Crossreach in our impact report, to which you will find a link in the report to this General Assembly, and we hope that you will find it interesting and insightful. We acknowledge the huge efforts of the workforce in making all of that possible, despite the ups and downs of the pandemic and the constant adjusting to guidance as COVID cases have reached new peaks. We were delighted to hold an online awards ceremony in October, recognising the staff for their dedication, for the professional qualifications gained over the last year, as well as making awards for long service and exceptional achievements. The awards service ran under the title Ohana, which in Hawaiian, I bet you never knew this, in Hawaiian means family in which no one is left behind. And we got a little help from friends to make it all run smoothly. But we couldn't have done it without your support. People in the congregations and communities up and down the country have helped in so many ways, giving of time, talents, and resources, and holding us in prayer as we have navigated through some particularly choppy seas in this unprecedented season for social care. On behalf of the Crossreach Board, I would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you. I would also like to add a thank you to Mr. Callum Murray, our Director of Adult Care, who's hiding in the corner. Callum retires after this assembly. Callum has been a much valued and respected member of the leadership team in Crossreach and has overseen the work and undertaken by his diverse range of services with diligence and with compassion. I know he will be missed greatly by his colleagues, and we wish him well for his retirement. Moderator, I present the report and move the deliverance.
Seconded.
Thank you, Tom. We have two people wanting to ask questions. Gordon Pennykidd, number 61, and would Leslie Stewart, number 22, please stand by.
Moderator, thank you. Number 61, Gordon Pennykidd, a deacon and past employee of Crossreach. I welcome this report, and I know how hard personally the Crossreach employees work and have been working for many years. I wonder though how long and how many times we will come here and hear that we are no longer or not yet a Scottish living wage employer. In 2012, this court instructed all employees of the church to be made living wage employees. And in 2016, I stood here and we instructed them to do so again. We advertise on the Church of Scotland website under our views on economic inequality, and I quote, "We believe that people who work full-time should be valued enough to be able to afford to live a full and happy life. The living wage is the minimum amount a person needs. Anything less than this will result in in-work poverty." I appreciate that this is a financial decision at a difficult time, but can the convener update us on how close we are getting to achieving this instruction of the court and give us a date when we will finally be able to sign up to being a Scottish living wage employer?
Convener.
Moderator, I'd like to thank Mr. Pennykidd for his question. It's been a long journey, as you have said, Gordon. I can report that there are 110 of our 1,600 staff currently not paid the Scottish living wage. Over the past 2 years, we have been working very hard to raise staff wages, which has been helped by the recent government investment in adult social care staff and the support of the trustees. The board are committed to paying the best terms and conditions possible and will receive a report next week at the board meeting on the question of whether we are now able to take the final step and pay a living wage to everyone. It would be our sincere wish to be able to do so in the very near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Thank you, Convener. Leslie? Thank you.
Thank you, Moderator. Leslie Stewart, Commissioner number 22. I'm a member of Faith Action staff, but I speak as a Commissioner. Mine's a simple and very brief comment. I was watching General Assembly 2021 online last year when Crossreach gave their report, and in the midst of everything else that was going on in the church, and all the comments and excitement and complaints and everything else, I was just really saddened that Crossreach got very little engagement in their report in 2021. So I'm standing here in 2022, I've heard your report, and I would just like to say thank you for all you do and the work that you have done for the last 2 years in circumstances that most of us, yeah, we've lived through it too, but we're not the ones dressing up in PPE every day, and we have no idea how much hard work you've put in, how many challenges you're facing, and on behalf, I can only speak for myself, but on my behalf, I want to say thank you, not just for your report today, but for your report in 2021 and all the hard work in between. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie, for those very apt comments. We move to the report, to the deliverance. Do we receive the report? 1. 2.
Moderator. I wonder if I could speak in this matter. I don't normally speak as clerk, but I would like to say something. Like Leslie, I was shocked last year that no one made any comments during the report. And I was shocked because my daughter was working for Crossreach. And she no longer works for Crossreach, and there are reasons for that, but it's not due to Crossreach. I think sometimes those of us who visit care homes don't really think through what the care staff do. I've learned that from listening to her. The care staff, she would say, are not like nurses often in our hospitals who see patients turning through. The care staff welcome people in, and often they're taking, this isn't dementia care, they're taking people's mothers, wives in, husbands in. They're doing that handover thing. They're preparing care plans. I was astonished to find that my 23-year-old daughter was writing care plans. And they become not only the carer of that person, but the bond between that person's care and their family. They give reports on how mum or dad are doing. They talk about medicine, they talk about end of life. And when it comes to end of life, they do the preparations for that final journey. They lose when the person dies, and in the Elms case, they lost 16 people in 6 weeks. 16 people that they knew and whose families they knew. Now that comes at human and emotional cost. So I want to say that, and I want people to hear that. And the next time you go into a Crossreach home and look at the care staff, remember there's more to it than what you see on that day. I also wanted to say in public that the management of Crossreach care fantastically for their staff. When they show signs of emotional strain and they are damaged by what they are experiencing, the staff in Crossreach understand that, and they go to great lengths to sustain that person's working life and to look after their well-being, to ensure that they can continue to function if that's possible as a care worker, and if it's not, that the experience does not do them too much harm. So in remembering not only the care worker that you see, remember also the management who work with those care workers and the immense amount of commitment and professionalism that they show to their staff, who treat them as human beings, frail and vulnerable. And if you are not vulnerable as a care worker, you are not exercising care. So I wanted to say that. I know a clerk is not meant to speak in debate, but I'm not moving anything, but I'd like people to hear it. Thank you.
Just like to thank George for breaking the rules. Well done, George. 2. Yeah. 3. 4. 5. 6. 6. 7. 8. 9. And the deliverance as a whole. Convener, Tom, just to add to what the clerk has so passionately and eloquently expressed, the work of social care is vast and probably one of the least understood in the church. We don't boast about it, as we should perhaps, but we humbly get on with doing what we do best, which is caring for people and restoring people. That was quick. The sheer range of the services and responsibilities is mind-boggling, and all credit to our many, many staff who carry out vital services day in, day out. Thank you for your report. Thank you for some of the contributions from the hall as well. And please be assured of our admiration and full support as the General Assembly for all that's done in the name of the Church, in the name of Christ, in our generation and nation by Crossreach. Thank you very much.